And just like that, the Battlefield 6 rug pull has been completed. EA has come out and said they have laid off an unspecified amount of developers from Criterion, DICE, Ripple Effect, and Motive Studios. These four studios make up what is referred to as Battlefield Studios, and it appears delivering an EA the best-selling game of 2025 in the United States, as well as the best franchise launch for Battlefield ever, simply isn't good enough for some developers to keep their jobs. With all that being said, let's talk about the absolute fucking state of Battlefield 6. There's a lot to cover. If you enjoy the channel, be sure to hit the sub button, hit the like button. Thank you to everyone that does that. And of course, let me know your thoughts. I'm sure you guys are already typing up a story in the comment section. Oh god, this is going to be one of the comment sections where I'm going to read every single one. What we're going to do is we're going to go over the big news of today, which is, of course, the layoffs, and then we're just going to set the stage for the timeline of Battlefield 6 right now. So, IGN released this article, which I'll link in the description, and, of course, it details layoffs EA has made to Battlefield Studios. They don't specify the amount of developers they laid off. However, this game reporter on Twitter did manage to find some confirmation that some employees across multiple studios were laid off. Some of the positions these developers held include associate game designers and even 8-year-plus experience senior game designers. So let me get this straight. Battlefield 6 launches, EA makes $3 billion. They deliver the most successful commercial Battlefield launch in history, and they get fired for it. I mean, it's like, the industry's bleak. Honestly, guys, you could make a shit game and you get fired, and then you make the best-selling game the franchise has ever seen, and you get fired. So, doesn't sound very awesome, does it? Apparently, the reason these individuals are being told as to why they're getting laid off is Battlefield is taking part of a, quote, realignment across the Battlefield studios. And, if you can even believe it, EA tries to spin this as being pro-community or in favor of the community. The IGN article has this quote from EA which reads, "We've made select changes within our Battlefield organization to better align our teams around what matters most to our community." Yeah, so number one, go to hell, and then number two, when you get to hell, go fuck yourself. That's one of the most ridiculous statements from EA I've read in my 8 years of covering Battlefield. But you know what the situation really makes crystal clear, I hope, to everyone? Battlefield 6 was an elaborately marketed, cleverly designed rug pull to pull in as much money and as much hype around the franchise during a short period of time as possible. They deliberately and knowingly manipulated the expectations of players with the beta by making sure the beta featured the absolute best of what they had on offer, so they got your money early. And past that, they clearly didn't give a shit because they knew even before the beta they were going to deliver a bare-bones live service, which we are currently being drip-fed. And when you take a step back and really look at the overall timeline for Battlefield 6, it's really insane. This might be one of the most unbelievable 180s in gaming that I've ever seen, and unfortunately, I am directly experiencing it. The energy and hype surrounding Battlefield 6 during its launch in the beta was astronomical, and understandably so. The beta was really good. Like, we weren't coping. The beta was legitimately fun. But then the game releases, and of course, there are more problems than we initially thought, which is always going to happen. But then they start delaying updates. Remember that one update they rug pulled in Season 1 randomly, even though they said we were going to get it? Not too long after that, Vince Zampella passes away, which you just simply cannot plan for. The mastermind of the game is not supposed to randomly die. Fast forward a little bit, the $1 million RedSec Elite Series tournament is announced, and then it was postponed, and we haven't heard a single word of it since, and I almost guarantee you, as of right now, due to RedSec's failure, it's going to be canceled. A little bit more down the line, we have Season 2, which is delayed, and then when Season 2 finally releases, it's just the exact same amount of content we got in Season 1, and basically we can't figure out why it was delayed. It's not like they drastically improved anything about the game. The patch notes were extremely mediocre. And that basically brings us to where we are right now. And I think the reality of the situation is EA is not satisfied with the concurrent player count of the game, or perhaps the microtransaction revenue. That is my personal opinion. I think a lot of that stems from the extremely disappointing RedSec numbers the game is pulling in. RedSec gets 0 views, 0 hype, and I think EA expected RedSec to be Warzone level. I think EA fully expected RedSec to bring in a fuckload of money, and it simply isn't doing it. They don't just want great initial sales, which they got, they want great initial sales plus continuous massive microtransaction revenue. Basically, EA is just as bad of a company as we already thought. So, a couple things I just want to point out. As a result of these layoffs, obviously we don't know the exact number of people, but if I had to guess, it is a significant number of people. If you still held any hope of Battlefield 6 getting an increased amount of content during its post-launch support, I would throw that hope in the garbage, because I guarantee you we're going to get drip-fed this exact same content cadence all the way up until they cut support for Battlefield 6, which honestly might be closer than we initially anticipated, because I guarantee you they are working on Battlefield 7. Remember, EA isn't interested in this whole 4-year development cycle anymore. They literally told us exactly what they want. They want yearly Battlefield releases, and you better believe that is probably still the plan in play. In terms of what's next for Battlefield 6, I think it's going to be very similar, actually, to what we experienced in Battlefield 2042 at this point, maybe slightly better. The same content cadence drip feed, slow but sure improvements to the game, and a lot of waiting. Unfortunately, the reality is, I don't think people are ever going to get what they thought Battlefield 6 would be. I think people wanted Battlefield 6 to be the true reform of the game, the true return to Battlefield 4, the true successor to those amazing titles we all experienced, and it's just simply not going to happen. And I think for a lot of people, this game is going to be Strike 3, or at least I hope it will be. When it comes BF7 time, a lot of you guys have to put your money where your mouth is. Remember the no pre-order stuff with Battlefield 6? Yeah, everyone fucking caved. Everybody caved. None of that with the next titles. The only way anything is ever going to change is if their pocketbooks are directly affected. I'm not even sure how you guarantee that to happen, because how are you going to prevent the average normie gamer from not being fooled by another extremely awesome trailer and cleverly disguised beta? So ultimately, I don't even know if there's a solution. I think we're just stuck in this perpetual cycle of them getting their money exactly when they want it and nothing ever changing, and basically fell for it again award, nothing ever happens chud. And that about wraps up the Battlefield 6 news situation. You guys have got to let me know what you think about this, and I'm sure you will in the comment section. If you enjoy the content, be sure to hit the sub button, hit the like button, and swing by the streams. All links are in the description. I just hope, at bare minimum, Battlefield 6 at some point can become at least half the game people thought it would be, but that's going to take a shit ton of gameplay changes. And a lot of people pointed this out in my last video. They haven't said shit about vehicles, and that's like, I don't know, half of Battlefield. Lots of work has to be done. Firing developers is not going to help, is it?